Good morning, young Lydia. How are you this morning? It's the 28th day of January, and you are awake. I am thoroughly impressed. I believe you
Jeez,
went for a
impressed.
I believe you went for a walk this morning. What's come over you?
No, you know what? I was actually thinking about it while I was walking. When you get tired of your own, I don't know if the word is, I feel like I'm being very vulnerable, inadequacies, and it's something that you really have the ability to make a decision about, man, it's time to make that decision.
There
You
you
know,
go. There
enough
you go.
excuses
There
and
you go.
yeah,
Yep.
make it happen.
I'm impressed. I'm impressed because I need to walk a lot more. Um, and mom needs to walk a lot more, so I don't have an excuse either. But this morning, we are onto a very interesting subject as we look at navigating this area of assessing transformation, levels of transformation. We are now on number 13. We're going to look at how people use moralistic language and moralistic thinking, which is a sure sign of where they are at in terms of their development. And it helps us to assess where they are. And it helps us to assess how to pitch, because we always need to pitch in appropriate ways, not just accurate ways, but appropriate ways. A, a way that is appropriate, that is apropos uh, in that moment. Okay. So let's look at the whole issue of what we commonly call moralism. Okay. And by commonly call, I mean, let's just get the screen sorted out here. I just want to get rid of the other screen. Let's just kill that. Okay, I'm going to remove that, and then we go. Okay, there we go. So there are a number of indicators that tell you that somebody is either involved in high moralistic thinking because of the way they're speaking and the way they are reasoning. I don't know if you've come across any types like this, Lydia. Have you? You still waiting to encounter
Yep.
them? Okay. We encounter them more than we would like to admit, and maybe we come across very moralistic ourselves. What do you think are some of the ways that show somebody is highly moralistic? How does it show?
Yeah, I think it comes out when you said even ourselves. I think I've been guilty of this. It can come across very judgmental, overly so. You know, black or white. Um,
Yeah,
you're not
highly
really
critical.
listening. You're not
Mm-hmm.
really listening and engaging. You're there to almost not catch somebody out, but it's kind of as if you're the waiting to give someone a hiding,
You God's
because
gift to men.
you're
Yeah, you
in,
God's
yeah,
gift to
let me show
women.
you a better way. Sure. And it
And it's
really
crazy, isn't it?
doesn't
Yeah.
create connection.
It
It actually
doesn't. It
doesn't.
doesn't. You just see people's faces change, right?
And they
Their
avoid
composure,
you.
their
Yeah.
faces just drop. So, highly critical and judgmental is how moralism shows. And it's never good. It's not good because it doesn't connect with people. What about killing the conversation? Isn't that a way of that moralism shows itself? Lydia, it's this and this and this and this and this, so be quiet, shut your mouth, you're brain dead, you can't think. End of discussion. You know how we end discussions? We just
Mm.
throw out a comment real fast because we can think on our feet and we think that's the end of a discussion.
Yeah. I think you're not in for a conversation. This is not about engaging and connecting, and it's there's already an agenda. It's like a preemptive strike. You've already thought it, or even if you've caught yourself off guard in a conversation, you just go for the jugular and
I
it's
like
done.
that terminology. Brilliant, Liz. Preemptive strike. A moralistic person always engages in preemptive strikes. Now, it's a very military metaphor, right?
Mm.
Explain to us quickly what a preemptive strike is.
I mean, you've got your own set of ideas and things there already. So it's like you've loaded your guns, and whatever you're going to hear and encounter, you might think you know what you're going to face. And so it's your quick draw, and you're just shooting holes in it. And
Ah,
that's where you
lovely,
go.
lovely.
I
You
think
draw
it's,
first,
mm,
and we normally
ask
draw blood
questions
first,
later.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. In warfare, a preemptive strike is to offset the enemy, to either catch them off guard, to neutralize them, or to get them to do something absolutely crazy, right? So I like that description. A very moralistic person is given to preemptive strikes. People say, what's a preemptive strike? Well, eat first. I can tell you, that's the way I used to burrow my way through life as a child. Because Uncle Des was always a bit bigger than me, always, and heavier than me. And I knew that if he were to catch me, because we grew up together, if we were to get involved in a fight, he really could hurt me. So what would I do? I go for the preemptive strike. I knew that if I could kick him on his shin, he's done for. He can't run, he can't move. Lydia, as big as what he was, I knew I must kick. My first shot is the killer shot. So I get involved in a preemptive strike and I kick his shin and I run. Oh, I already got you. It's over, it's below. Over, it's below. I was a terror as a kid. Oh my goodness. Wicked, man. So, oh, you're using very good images here. You're first on the draw as a moralist. You always draw your gun first, and you are fast.
Mm.
It's not just like because you draw first because you know you have to win, and it's about
Yeah.
winning, and it's very rivalrous, isn't it?
Mm.
Highly
Yeah.
rivalrous, and it puts the enemy off, puts your husband off, puts your kid off because your strike is so preemptively charged that boy, I can't even think, and there she already floors me, right? And the bell hasn't even rung for the fight to start. You know, it's like these guys, these UFC guys. Some of them are real crooks. They punch each other's lights out before the bell goes, and the one fires a shot. And sometimes they hit each other behind the head, of course, which is illegal and all that kind of thing. So, okay, any other ways you can think of? We've
I'm just
talked
thinking
about
it's
overly
the
critical.
reasoning for it. Yeah. I think the reason for it, because I mean, it sounds, I think it can come definitely from a place of, because you get hurt or you've been hurt, perhaps is the reason that you go in. But over, there's a short period of time you realize, wait a minute, this is not, what am I trying to do in terms of winning? I'm not winning anyone, you know. So what's coming to mind here in terms of perhaps some of the reasons behind it is it a defense mechanism, like you now pointed out, some of the what you did when you were younger physically, but you still get hurt because you're going to face someone one day that's going to come at you, and it creates such aggression, um, that sure someone else is going to take you out, or do something that now
Interesting.
you weren't able to
Mm,
defend yourself
mm,
against.
mm. And
Yeah.
sometimes we respond. We are highly moralistic because we're responding to unresolved hurts in our own lives. And so we lash out because we think we are now to protect ourselves. Like someone said yesterday, they were talking about when Mom and my dating relationship was very stormy over a 5-year window. I mean, we only got married at the end of year number 6. And this person said, oh, no, but when you stopped going out with Jackie, you just went back to your old girlfriend. Now, of course, I wasn't in the discussion, but I can imagine how I would respond because there was never a girl on the radar after my first relationship, except Mom. And so the assumption was, no, if you went with mom, then you were with the old girlfriend. And just think of how you now feel you must go into defense mode,
Mm.
you know. Because I had a moment of being defensive. I thought, nah, that person's not even here. What a joke. And now I have to defend myself, you know, to my wife.
Mm.
But we do that. So, unless we can illustrate how this really works in the real world, in real time, people don't get it. Eh? And we are so moralistic. I think the way the culture we've grown up in, maybe not you so much, but my generation, oh, moralism of note. And it sounds so good, right? Because then one of the other things I thought about is we prioritize rules over people. We prioritize rules over people. In other words, people don't count. Rules count. You broke the rule, man. Right? And I think it's our moralism that surfaces. And that's not good. Yeah. And I think we can admit in a company or to the person we're talking, say, I really have a hard time now with what you're saying because I'm struggling to process this. And we admit, no, I'm struggling to process it. But then leave it right there because you're going to say stuff now that's going to make you come across very moralistically in your thinking and in your speaking because people read that as high judgmentalism. And high judgmentalism and a critical spirit is not attractive. As critical as I am, the thing that drew me to many of the crisis points in my life was tenderness, loving tenderness. And I think this is going to sound quite ethereal, or ephemeral, like very woo-woo, misty. But the thing in God and about God that really overwhelmed me was that He could love me. Because I was very harsh as a child, very harsh. I mean, you don't want to know. You can ask my cousin and you can ask my second oldest brother. And I think they got a lot of the brunt of my raging fury. It's very sad, very sad. But, if you are growing, then you deal with it. If you're not growing, you don't deal with it. And you just come across as sandpaper all the time. Anything else that comes to your mind, Liz?
I'm thinking of in a church scenario, if I can use that term, a traditional term that people associate with, and I have the word here, holy. The misconception of this being seen as holy, because
Absolutely.
God
The
is
use of
holy, so I need to
language.
be holy. And so separate means this. That means
Mm,
I need to speak in a certain way and, you know,
mm.
criticize and move along and do it all so that I can show that I am growing and
Holy.
maturing. That was kind of a
No,
sign
you're
of
right.
maturity.
Yep. So the
Um,
kinds of terms we use are
sure.
what really shows. Oh no, you must be sanctified. What does that mean? Can't even spell that word. Holy. Woo. Well, explain that. That's another one. And seldom do we think of moralism as to do with how we are not to respond. Because any response that is moralistic is a gut wrenching response that reveals our high critical spirit, our judgmentalism, our ideological captivity that we live inside of. It reveals so much about us. But if I can show restraint, it becomes an indicator that I'm growing. Don't
Mm.
have to respond now. I don't have to respond now. I mean, when I heard both my brothers had children, my response was very different. I think there was shock. Had kids out of wedlock. and with one brother, two kids. Now, I got shocked spitless, but I had to learn to. Why am I reacting? Why am I reacting? Um, and in each of the cases, when I did respond to them, I said, "I'd love to see your children that I had never met." You know. So yes, a lot of this is some of us aren't cured of this. I think I still show some strong tendencies toward this, but it's an area for growth, and you can smell it in other people very quickly because you've been there or you are there. You see, yeah, this is a very convicting one, Liz.
Yeah.
And moralism can be seen as being preachy,
Mm.
right? And I think kids pick that up very quickly in parents. Remember, kids are very quick to say, "Ah, Dad, don't preach to me." Eh? But you see, they're
Mm.
hearing a high moralism, a high judgmentalism that they can't process and that is not attractive. And yet, the things that broke my heart over the years were the things that had high attraction to it: love, tenderness. I had high attraction for me, but I hated it because I thought that was weakness. And then the Lord overwhelms you with the very thing that you long for or have not longed for. Because you prize you prize strength and high critical spirits and that sort of thing. Any closing comments, Liz, as we close out here? We're going 17 minutes.
Um, sure. I'm just thinking in terms of it's amazing how it's the opposite that's attractive. Because I was going to say, how do you respond to someone, even if you're in a growing stage of being a moralist, when you're responding that way? But it's amazing how, like you're saying, it's the opposite. It's that patient, loving
Yes,
compassion.
and
Fruit
listening
of the
to the
Spirit,
hard.
really, that's just,
Yep.
yeah, sitting and
Listen.
waiting. And
Yeah, listening to
that's
the
doing a
brutal
lot.
fact, the
Mm,
brute fact that is being explained.
mm,
And you see, we got a knee-jerk reaction to it because that
mm,
shouldn't have happened. And boy, we lose it right there. We lose it. And we don't come back, and we don't have the grace to come back and say, I overreacted. I overreacted. I mean, oh, if I must recount to you all the times I have responded moralistically, it's not enough paper to write on, you know. But the Lord is gracious, God is gracious with us. Ooh, and patient, and we become so impatient with ourselves because we don't accept our limitations either. Well, this is too convicting, Lydia, so
mm.
we should close. Since this is too convicting, let's close out this podcast. We're not doing it because it's convenient. It's just we'll have gone 20 minutes in a few seconds time. But Lydia, thanks for your time, and we will continue these discussions that will help us in relating to who we are and relating to others and detecting where others are and not hitting them over the head with it. That's the big one. Okay. Any
Thanks for
closing
providing
comment,
the
Liz?
space, Dan. No, just I
Oh,
think
you're
thank you for
welcome. You're welcome. I know for me,
listening and
it's
taking time.
becoming, yeah, it's becoming more conviction spaces than pontificating on issues because you become deeply aware of your own limitation and where growth still needs to happen. So thanks for your time, Liz. And
Sure.
I trust that you'd have a wonderful rest of the day. Okay,
Thanks, you too. Yep.
great. Bye now.
Cheers.